Howdy, we are moving on now to part 2 of chapter 9. In this, I wanted to talk about some different types of strategic alliances and where they kind of fit and why firms might pursue these in different situations. So first of all, a joint venture is when two or more firms create a legally independent company by sharing some of their resources and capabilities. An example of this would be that a number of years ago, there was a new type of semiconductor, particularly flash memory, that was only produced by a few companies, and those companies were making a lot of money. So this was an attractive industry for other companies to get into, but it was expensive and difficult to do so. So there were a couple of companies in the United States that actually teamed up in order to get into the flash memory market. One of these was Intel. They are known for manufacturing processors and certainly are an industry leader in semiconductors. Another company, or the other company that they ended up working with, was Micron Technology, known for computer memory, even though it was a different type than flash memory, and they created together IM, or Intel Micron, Flash Technologies. When they did this, they each brought unique resources and capabilities to the partnership. Both of them know how to research, design, and manufacture semiconductors. And one interesting resource that Micron actually brought to the table was this building. It's in Lehigh, just up I-15 a few hours. Micron had built this building during a strong market time and ultimately decided to not put the production facility in for DRAM manufacturing because the market turned. So they held on to this building for a number of years until they created this joint venture. When they did, this was one of the resources they had ready to go, and they were able to leverage that resource in creating this joint venture. So the next we talk about here is an equity strategic alliance. Partners may own different percentages of equity in a separate company that they have formed. Basically, this is like a JV with unequal ownership, and it may also have more than two partners. And then we get a non-equity strategic alliance, in which two or more firms create or develop a contractual relationship to share some of their unique resources and capabilities, but without forming a legally or unique company, a legally separate company. Here's another example of a strategic alliance. Now, when we talk about Boeing, the first thing that almost anybody would say when they think of the company Boeing would be airplanes. So would it be a surprise to you to hear that they created a smartphone? What was going on here? So BlackBerry and Boeing teamed up for a self-destructing phone. Geared toward users in the defense and security communities, the Boeing Black promises customers peace of mind via the handset's self-destruct feature. This particular phone was designed for government, for military, FBI. Even the President of the United States has used a Boeing Black phone. When you look at the two companies, it's clear that BlackBerry knew how to create a cell phone. They'd done that for years, and prior to the smartphone, they were actually the industry leader in cell phones. And then Boeing has had very strong relationships with government as a government contractor for defense. So they came together, created this, and they were able to leverage very unique and distinct resources and capabilities, including relationships, to be able to create this phone. It's not available on the consumer market, but it was something that they worked together to do. So there are a number of different reasons for strategic alliances. When we think about different market cycles, remember there's slow, fast, or standard cycle markets. In a slow cycle market, a strategic alliance could be pursued in order to gain access to a restricted market. Government contracting would be a good example of this. Perhaps to establish a franchise in a new market, or to maintain market stability. Another example in a slow cycle market would be the Disney Princess line that we talked about before. The Disney Princess line, or this would be a slow cycle market because these characters are protected by copyright. The only way that a toy manufacturer could produce these would be to have a license from the creator or the holder of that copyright. Next, we can look at a fast cycle market. Reasons for this would be, reasons for a strategic alliance in a fast cycle market would be to speed up development of new goods or services and to speed up new market entry, perhaps to maintain market leadership or form an industry technology standard. They may share risky R&D expenses or may overcome uncertainty. If we were to look at computer memory, this would be a fast cycle market. If we look at flash memory, Intel and Micron were able to share R&D expenses. They were able to speed up the development of new products and their entry to the market. Working together was a way for them to mutually benefit from the strengths of each other. Another example here might be a joint venture agreement between Fendi and Simonetta for the Fendi Kids collection. One company was strong in fashion, one was a little stronger with children, and so they decided to get together and create this children's fashion line in a market that is constantly changing. A standard cycle market has different motivations for pursuing strategic alliances, including gaining market power. This may include reducing the industry overcapacity, gaining access to complementary resources, or establishing economies of scale. This could help to overcome trade barriers, meet competitive challenges from other customers, and pool resources for very large capital projects, and also may help each company learn new business techniques. This is an example of companies in a standard cycle market that worked together. Hopefully you're very familiar with these by now, where they were able to work together to develop some technology in order to gain access to each other's markets or to strengthen that. And also they were trying to, at least there was some motivation to influence the level of rivalry in the industry in order to protect and to gain market power. So my question for you here in this section is, Starbucks has created strategic alliances with both Barnes & Noble and Target. Why might these companies want a Starbucks inside their stores? And do you think this would be a slow, fast, or standard cycle market? And of course, please explain.